Hello, and welcome back to Fighting for the Truth. Here at Fighting for the Truth, we buy the truth and we sell it not. I have a very special guest on with me, actually, a buddy of mine who I've known for many years now. He is a part of the Blexit Turning Point USA movement itself, of the HBCU program that was launched a few years back under Blexit. And he is a great young man. He is known, AKA, today we're not using that name, but he is AKA the Hood Conservative, and he'll be able to maybe show you, explain to you, or you'll see why he is called the Hood Conservative. He's a great man. I thought it'd be befitting to bring him on the show because we have something very important today to discuss. We're going to be debunking the myths and we're going to bring the truth to you because this is Fighting for the Truth. So today we'll be talking a little bit about what's going on with the National Guard coming in under the president's decision and his I almost said reign. I won't use reign, but under his determination that the cities, which that was a platform promise under the Trump's administration leading into the 2024 election, that he would get crime under control in our crime heavy driven cities and towns and states. And so President Trump, under the leadership of great men and women, they're doing just that with the National Guards. They're coming in to help. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it. You've heard me talk about it before, exactly what the National Guards are doing, because some believe that they're making arrests. They're, busting in doors and just jumping in on people and locking them up. That's a whole nother ball game as that pertains to the ICE immigration. We're not touching that today. We're talking about literally coming in and assisting the cities and towns police departments who are not able to, and I'm not talking about the men and women themselves, boots on the ground, but the administration that are able to take charge and are able to take leadership to reduce crime and to let their town officials, mayors, council men and women know that, hey, guess what? You hired me as the police chief. I'm going to do the job. And part of that means that I have to come in and we have to do what we call in law enforcement aggressive patrolling. It doesn't mean beat downs. It doesn't mean killings. It doesn't mean anything like that. What it means is saturated patrol, which saturated patrol means, and I'm going to bring him in just a moment. I know he's waiting there for me to introduce him. Hang tight for just a moment, right? I'm on a little rant. Saturated patrols are just what it is. It is basically a heavy presence of police that are policing the areas where crime is very high. And that could be from riding around to being on foot, just showing a presence. Because we know that when you show a presence, that is a part of, in the police world, that is part of decreasing and deterring crime. So we're going to dive more into that. But again, I want to bring my good brother on, AKA Hood Conservative, real name, Price Hopkins. Price, how are you doing today, my brother?
What's going on, bro? Nice seeing you, man. And I appreciate you bringing me on here.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. We actually just sent a text out. We said, hey, let's get on the show, and Price texted me back immediately. Let's make it happen. So here we are. We made it happen. It's reality. Welcome to
There we
Fighting
go.
for the Truth. Fighting for the Truth, which is what you do day in and day out. And you have your social media platform presence that is very, very large. And we'll be able to, for those who are not familiar with you yet, we'll be able to share those particular platforms and social media handles where they can find you at. Today, we're going to be discussing, before we move into what the president has deemed appropriate, and I also deem it appropriate, and many others, and hopefully ones that are listening today, you deem it. And I know I'm going to have the haters come in there, and I'm going to be called the normal, and I'm wearing my MAGA hat today, so I'm going to get in double trouble. I know I'll have the folks coming on, black and white, mostly black, calling me coon. I get a lot of symbols and pictures of raccoons. And of course, Price, you've been there, done it.
All
It
the time.
started back up again for me. It's fun. It's actually fun. What it tells me is that we are not only fighting for the truth, but we are making a difference with the truth. Because in order for you to put and post those particular pictures and call us coons and Uncle Toms, you have to literally at least read the title of what we're talking about or watch what we're talking about. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, they watch a lot of my
Haters are
videos.
good. Oh, yeah.
they'll watch it all the way through because they'll comment on things I said at the end and beginning, the middle, and the end, and then they call me a coon. But I'm one of those people that fight back. Like I know a lot of people like ignore it and let it just rock out. Sometimes for algorithm purposes, I'll say something back, or I might curse you out.
Yeah, if you want to challenge price, just understand that will come with the price, literally, right? No pun intended. You will pay the price, and the price is getting clapped back on and rebutted against, and you will have your choice of words that will be
Hmm.
challenged against you. So be ready when you come to the Hood Conservatives page. Just know that you're not getting away easy. In all due respect for myself, I literally find it fascinating that people would say some of the things that they say, and I'm never offended by it. I think it's a big, huge joke, and the real deal is they have no substance, which I always talk about the left. They have no substance to bring, and when they have nothing to bring to the table, the only thing they do bring is name calling, and so that's
So
normal. Right? They can't win a debate. I mean, we saw our dear brother Charlie was killed because the left could not win through their speech, through their rhetoric. And so they did the ultimate thing, and that is death. But we're not going to dive into that today. We've done a little bit of that, and we'll continue to do it. But this show today is centered around different points that we're going to be talking about. But Price, I want to segue back into what we're here for. So the thing I want to discuss today, starting off on this show, we are now in our 20th day of the government shutdown, which is the longest shutdown in America history. 20 days with the 11th failed vote. Today, they're going to be taking the 12th. Matter of fact, they should be in session as of right now. Before we enter this show, Price and I was looking up some statistics and some research to see had they made that vote, or at least cast a vote, or at least put out the vote, whether the government was going to remain shut or open. And so they're in their 12th vote right now. I'm sure there's a filibuster taking place. I'm sure there's a lot of name calling and all the other things that these government officials do when they cannot agree with one another. But needless to say, 20th day, federal employees' price is still not getting paid. Now, what I found very interesting, and also we want to commend the President Trump. You've probably heard about it or read it. Last week, President Trump was able to meet with his administration on the DOD side and to try to allocate funds and find funds and funding so that they could pay our U.S. military, which they have done. Now, everyone should be aware this is not a permanent pay structure. This is temporary, but they were able to find money to keep the military paid. Now, we're missing out on the law enforcement, and you heard me talk about it a couple episodes ago. A good friend of mine, he works for the U.S. Air Marshal. Him and I have been chatting here and there. And of course, he's under that bracket of not being paid. But as a law enforcement officer, he is essential. And I would even deem him to be even more essential as he travels on our domestic flights, sometimes international flights, to secure and make sure that the people, the passengers upon those planes, are safe. So his job is very essential. Then you look at our ICE, Border Patrol, all of DHS, they that make up Homeland Security, they're not getting paid, and we're not just going to leave them out. Even our just regular federal workers, all the way to IT, to the workers that deal with infrastructure, maybe they work at a museum, a national museum, whatever it may be, they're not being paid. And so we do have to get these people paid, Price. But I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the 20th day? Again, this is the longest standing shutdown in American history. Now, I got to be clear, this is a full shutdown. Now, we saw a partial shutdown back in 2018, 2019, which happened to be under who? President Trump's reign, huh? Imagine that happens again. But this is the
mhm.
full shutdown. Now, they had one previously under Bill Clinton, and of course, under President Barack Obama, President Jimmy Carter. But they never, again, full shutdown. The others I just mentioned was partial, but it has never lasted this long. So, what say you?
I think they need to just come together because if I'm not mistaken, the part of the bill that everybody's arguing about is giving illegal immigrants funding for healthcare. And the
Mm-hmm.
Democrats are always, or the left, whatever you want to call them, um, always seem to prioritize illegal immigrants. You know, they shouldn't be here in the first place. And then you have TSA. Like if you saw the clip in Atlanta today, terrible, terrible, terrible. The terrible day to fly. Nobody wants to come to work because nobody's getting paid. Now they're saying that the food stamps are going to get cut off. And a lot of people do need those. They do need that to eat. So if they can't get food for them and their families, what do you think it's going to turn into? Shoplifting and crime.
Yeah.
So this is going to have a trickle effect. It's going to be devastating if something doesn't happen soon.
Very well stated. And to touch on what you just said, Atlanta is the busiest airport in America. So, and you and
Yep.
I, we've flown out of that airport multiple times doing different trips with Turning Point USA and Blessed. So we know, and many people have traveled there. You understand how busy and important that airport is to many airline um, companies because that is a hub for many. And so when you look at that, not only that price, you look at TSA calling in sick and not coming to work for some obvious and agreeable reasons, right?
Yeah.
When you work, you should get paid. But we're looking at traffic control, air traffic control. They also are getting ready, many, to leave the sacred death, we should call it. And guess what? Without air traffic controllers, the planes cannot fly. It's going to be chaos. It's
Yeah.
going to be devastating. And we saw underneath the bracket of DEI when they were hiring air traffic controllers who had not lived up to what an air traffic controller should be. They didn't have the skills, the training. They were just hiring because they needed people of different gender and race. We saw how devastating that was also to that particular profession. One of the most stressful professions in the world is an air
Yeah.
traffic controller. So wouldn't it
Are
make
you,
sense
are you talking about the
that we
incident that
keep
happened
those?
around here?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the DCA, the helicopter crash, right?
That was very devastating. And of course, it happens from time to time. Nobody's perfect. We
Hmm.
understand that, again, the most stressful job in the world, not the country, but the world. It is one of the jobs where you have to have some type of expertise or at least training and knowledge and skills in air traffic. That's why most of the time, you see that they do maybe not required, but they like to see former Air Force pilots and former Air Force military soldiers a part of that particular profession because they know the ins and outs and they understand all the things that I don't know, couldn't even begin to tell you about when it comes to flying planes and making sure that it's safe to fly, making sure that they have a certain amount of planes in one area, all that stuff to make sure that at the end of the day that they don't crash into one another, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's dangerous.
Very dangerous. So we need these people paid. Talked about in the previous show. We're praying for them, every employee. Of course, it is easy for us to sit in our chairs behind a microphone and a screen and talk about how we need the government open so that employees can get paid, but we're not federal employees. We don't understand it. We don't understand how it is not to be paid under those circumstances because at the end of the
Hmm.
day, as I spoke about, America is built on capitalism. We need to be paid for the job that we render.
Yeah.
So you look at that, you look at those things, Price, but also what we have to take a look at, circling back to your second point you made, was the different things that are in this stopgap, which is a clean resolution. And I know you know this, Price. Most things that the Democrats, and we can call them the left, like you said, or the Democrats, the things that they are arguing for to keep the government shut down, the things that they actually voted for to keep the government open under President Biden. Matter of fact, I believe it was at least 17 times they voted on these different measures, and I could be off on the numbers. It could be more or less. They voted
Hmm.
on these measures, as one of them being Obamacare, aka Medicaid for all. This was set to obviously expire this year, so it was already in place. But they're arguing for us to keep it going for the next fiscal cycle of the government. But the deal is, we can't really focus on that now because there is a plan in place. Let's talk about that. There is a cleaner plan in place as it pertains to Medicaid and healthcare under the Trump administration. Of course, it has Trump's name on it, just as it had Obama's name on it. Of course, the left doesn't want that, so they're fighting against Obamacare to repeal that. And again, The Republicans, we want to make it better and to make it more affordable for all. And so you know that as well. Some of the things that I want to mention that is also in that bill that we're missing out on, again, is paying our troops, law enforcement, air traffic control, all the people that make up the federal government. We don't have to go down that loop again about it because we understand it, we know. Um, but when you look at it, taxpayers funding for healthcare for illegal immigrants is another thing you talked about. That is one of the biggest stalls that the Republicans, which again I stated on the previous show, we're not caving anymore. We're not cowering down. We're not backing down. I applaud Speaker of the House Michael Johnson, Chip Roy, and all these others who are saying we're not bowing, we're not caving, we're not moving. This is what the CR is, and we're not changing it because it's already. Let's use the words of President Trump. It is perfect. It's perfect, and so we don't want to touch it, but they're not caving. And unfortunately, of course, the left is making the right look bad because the government shut down. But at the end of the day, it's because of the Dems that the government shut down. What you say about that?
It's always the Dems.
It's
It's,
unfortunate,
the,
but
it's always them. They're the slaveholders. They're the still to this day. I know a lot of people disagree with it. They socialists, communists, Marxists, and when they put bills out, they always had something in it because the average American citizen, they'll put something into a bill. They know that we're not going to read that whole bill. So they'll use the cover act. They'll use the cover. They call it Free Healthcare Act. But inside, we're going to send $20 billion to Israel, $50 billion to Qatar, and XXXXX and all this other stuff. But we only focusing on the title because that's the society we live in now. We don't read. We just read captions and titles, and we go by that.
that's 100%. And that fuse the talking heads and all they do. We
Hmm.
appreciate social media, definitely TikTok, but we know that the majority of our young folks they look at it and read little clips from a short that even you and I may put up and um, put out there, and they basically they reply and they debunk or they talk about a soundbite that is out there in the airways, and so they don't actually go into the bill. And like you stated, let's face it, I've read many of the bills, and I'm sure you have too. They're filled. It is, of course, boring reading, and you have to dive in. You have to search real hard to really see what you're looking for. Let's say you're looking for a piece of the CR bill, well, you got to go in there and try to find it. So much packed in there,
It
and
is.
even when you use the GOV, the website for the United States House of Reps, so you go on there. Even when you go into the summary and it has the thing where you can go ahead and listen to it through audio, it is still boring and it is still long and long-winded, and so people don't want to do that, and people are not going to do that. They're going to go to CNN, or they're going to go to NPR, they're going to go wherever they get their news from, USA Today, I believe it's called, right? Or even we'll
Yeah.
go to New York Times and we'll look at that. We'll read it, and most times just listen, but we don't really do the work for ourselves. When you do that work, you find other things that are hidden in this bill, like they're wanting to give billions of dollars to healthcare corporations. Get this, who have already had tons of money from the American people, you and I. So the Dems want to give them more money, billions of dollars. We know that healthcare is the biggest selling driven
Yeah.
moneymaker in America, pharmaceutical companies.
I go hand in hand with the food we eat and all that other. With the food we eat, poison we drink, poison in the air. It's hand in hand. But let
Hand
me
in
say this
hand.
real quick, real quick, real
Go
quick.
ahead.
For anybody that doesn't want to read the bill, we have a great, wonderful app called ChatGPT. Put
That's
the
right.
bill in there, summarize it, give me the key points, tell me what's hidden, and just use a prompt similar to that. Bam. That 8 hour
Bam.
read is now a 10-minute read. That's
A
simple.
10-minute read.
That's what I do.
And guess what, Price? The choice is theirs. We gave you the information. Go do it. And we'll
Hmm.
find many still won't do it because what we also find within that many won't do it because they don't want to do it, but a lot of others won't do it because they don't really want to know what the truth. And that's what we're doing here. We're fighting for the truth, but they don't want to hear the truth because we know that when you hear the truth, it will, like I state, usually at the end of the show, it will set you free.
Because the lie is just so comfortable. The truth is discomfort.
I love it. The lie is so uncomfortable, but the truth
No, the lie is comfortable.
The lie is comfortable,
But the truth is
but the
uncomfortable.
truth
Nobody
is
can handle it.
uncomfortable.
That's what they tell you.
You,
Nobody can't handle the truth. That's real. That's like a real statement.
we've heard it in movies. You can't handle the truth. Well,
Mhm.
here on Fighting for the Truth, we not only handle the truth, we, as I always say, we don't only buy the truth because you got to buy it first, but we don't sell it. We actually give the truth away. So this is what we're doing on this show. That is why you can come onto this platform, listen to what we're saying. You can go back and fact check it, and you can go and do some research if you're willing to put in some work. Now, the Dems also want to eliminate work requirements for those who are welfare recipients. They want to get rid of, and we already know that because most people who are on, and listen, I'm not knocking anybody who is. I actually believe that welfare should have been created for what it was created for. Of course, we know Lyndon B. Johnson created for the minority, the black community, so that we can remain
Separated.
on government assistance. If he's
Hmm.
separated, because he said it, he'll have us voting over 200 years to have these free handouts. But when you look at government assistance, I believe it should be given to our senior citizens and those who are disabled and those who have had a time in their life that they had a period of lack and they're not able to get themselves up at the moment. I believe it should be, as we always say, if legs are right, a hand up, not a handout. It always should be there to help, but never to be dependent. So I just wanted to throw it in there so people don't automatically assume that I'm against welfare. I'm against the nature of giving out free things to people who don't, number one, hadn't deserved it. And many are going to say, well, I'm an American. Well, guess what? I stated on the previous show, too, as an American, we're not only talking about immigrants and illegal immigrants. We're saying that if you're going to come to this country, you have to be willing to help and contribute. And I said the same thing to this. I said it also goes to the American people. You have to contribute too. You just don't get to have the right to be born. And once you're born and you become a child and you become a teen, you become an adult, to sit back and do nothing and think things are going to be given to you. You said it best, Price. It is called socialism. And we're going to dive into that in a moment, but that is not what we are for. We're against socialism. No, I don't agree. Everybody should have what I have. If you didn't work for it, I shouldn't have to give you what I worked
Hmm.
so hard that God gave me the ability to do, to work hard
Yeah.
for. I don't think that you should have any right to it. I don't care if it's 1% of it. You don't have the right to have it.
Exactly. See, I'm against generational welfare. If you need a little help, it's cool. Everybody need a helping hand, but not a crutch. You can't use that. Your mother was on it, your grandmother was on it, now your kids on it. Then we not teaching our children to be better. We're not teaching them financial literacy to even get off of this. How to work money. How does money work? Only use 30% of your credit. How to pay it back 2 times a month, right before the due date and on the due date. We're not teaching our kids that. That's why our kids, all they know is the phone. And now the cycle perpetuates. Now they stuck broken, poor, working mediocre jobs, no career. What is it in? Somebody has to break the cycle.
You said it best. Generational welfare. That is something that is unfortunate, and I know you're going to dive into it in a moment, Price. That you see, I've seen it. We all seen it. We've been into the slums. We've been into areas where we can see grown men our age sitting on a stoop, and it's very depressing. It's very sad, but that's all they know. That's what they have grown accustomed to. But I hate when I hear people saying that. That's not anything out there for me. The white man's holding me down. White man is not holding you down. It's actually you that are holding you down. In some cases, we have to call it like it is. It is our own people holding us down because at the end of
Mhm.
the day, we say that we're the home of the free, we're the land of the free, home of the brave. If that is true, then that means that Price, if I have a piece of the pie, because remember, it's a whole pie, right? It is a
Yeah.
whole spirit. I should be able to show you how to either get your own pie or how to show you how to get a slice of my pie and still have some pie left over if we're doing the math correctly.
Everybody. They're all gatekeepers. Nobody wants to see anybody doing better, especially this area. Where I live at the DMV, they call it crab and bucket for crab to the bucket for a reason. And let me get back to the other part I was saying too, the generational
Mm-hmm.
welfare. It's a guy outside. Well, it's a plenty of, but it's just one particular guy. He
Mm-hmm.
stands outside the liquor store every single day, begging for money so he could get a beer. Mind you, when I first met him, I said, "Man, why you out here?" and just life, man, blah, blah, blah. I said, man, I'll take you to get your license. I'll help you build your resume. You know, ChatGPT is easy. Help you build your resume. We'll send it in. Amazon is hiring 24/7, every day, all
Mm-hmm.
day. Will help you get that job. You just gotta want it. Man, he ain't want it. He's so enabled. But he lived with his mother and his father. So after he's spending 12 hours doing nothing but standing outside the liquor store doing this all day.
Mm.
He goes home to a cooked meal. His mother, I watched his mother try to get him into her van the other day, and he would not get in. Like it's really, really sad. And there's a lot of people like that. Like I would help a homeless person. I won't give them money. I would just get them food. That's just my preference. I know some people are against that. Just give them the money. Sometimes, most of the time, I won't because I know they're just going to destroy themselves. Why do I want to help them destroy themselves? I'm not going to do that. It's to the point, man. They ask me for beer money all the time. Every time I'm walking up down the street, or if I'm going somewhere, like it's a little shopping center down the street I go to. By the
Mm-hmm.
it's a shoppers and all that stuff, but it's a liquor store over there too. Like I might be going in the shop, they stand outside, man. You got a couple bucks? Nah, bro, you a grown man. You a grown man. Eh, if you wanna feed your vice, you better go out there and work for it. You want to get drunk? Go work,
100%.
go work 20 hours a week at a part-time job at Target or Walmart somewhere, being a door greeter. Then you can go buy all the beers and stuff you want. And then get up and do it again. Destroy yourself. I ain't gonna help you, brother.
100%. And I don't understand why people we say all the time, and I know that in their mind they feel like they're helping and they're doing something to contribute, but we're basically, like you just said, we're enabling them. But not only that, we're fueling their alcoholism, their drug abuse, because we're giving them money that again they did not work for. I don't care if it's $1. If they stand there for 12 hours, they'll have enough to probably buy a couple pints of liquor. But you know what? They did not work for it. But we as Americans, so many people, won't even say Americans, just people in general, humans, we feel like we're giving back because we rolled our window down at a stoplight and gave a guy or a woman $2, and hopefully they're going to get food. 99% of those folks, we know they're doing the money. And you just said it yourself. You said, I'll get you some food. Most times we see they turn that type of help down because that's not really what they are looking for. But we won't stay
Hmm.
on that soap opera. But what we're saying to the people who are listening is you have to get it yourself. And I always say this while we're on the topic really quick of socialism. Why would you want, if you're able, meaning physically able, why would you not want to go out and work? Why would you want an Obama phone when you can go get your own iPhone, Google phone, whatever it may be? Think about that. Why would you want government food or AKA their money, which you in return, hopefully, you're going to purchase food, and the government still has stipulations on that. They tell you on some things that you can't buy. And one of those things you cannot buy alcohol on, if I'm not mistaken. But even then, which we're not condoning alcohol, but what we're saying to you is this: there's certain things. Matter of fact, you have to have a whole separate type of. I won't call it. Well, even back in the day, they had literally food stamps, and I've seen those before.
Yeah.
The WIC card or the WIC paper, whatever it may be, to get your milk. They even tell you how much milk you're going to be able to purchase. Why
Yeah,
not
they
work and
do.
get your own amount of milk? And I understand it. Again, we're talking about people who are able. We're not talking about our senior citizens. I believe, as a matter of fact, they don't get enough assistance. They should be able to get as much assistance as needed. And our veterans, we already know how much help they get.
Mm,
Pretty much
yeah.
nothing.
But it's a lot of resources out there for veterans that they don't know about. And I had to actually talk to somebody who's deep into that. Like they know where to get the health care, dental care, housing. They know, but it's not in our face.
It's
Like
not advertised.
it's not advertised. It's just pulled back into the money pool at the end of the year.
That's because if they told everybody, they'll be having to not only hire people just to do this particular job, but they'll have to get that money out, not away. You notice I didn't say away, but out. See, the
Mm-hmm.
problem I have with government, and so, we're talking about being conservative Republican. We know Republicans mean, and we do advocate, and that's what we want to see is less government. We want to be controlling more of the government ourselves, because at the end of the day, the government works for us. And I know it's the other way around in a lot of people's minds, but part of conservatism, we say this. It is very important that we understand, yes, we need government for certain aspects, but government should not tell us what to do 100%. And they also shouldn't be able to tell us what we're going to do. Okay. So they can't just tell us what they're going to do. And then they tell us also what we're going to do. Because we know that most times government does not do what they say they're going to do. They require a heavy hand on us. And so what I'm saying is this, I'm circling it back to this. At the end of the day, the government is there to make sure that their people are safe from homegrown, national, international terrorists, anything as it pertains to our country that makes us safe, dealing with our public safety, our domestic safety, and of course, our borders, making sure those are safe and making sure the American people are safe from wars. And then on top of that, to make sure our government is running physically and that they are doing it in a sound mind. And so they're being good stewards over what we have given them, and that is the power and money. We've given them both of those. At the end of the day, the government's only funded and able to operate because of the American people who are putting into the system. Without that, they will not be able to operate. Would you say that's fair price? Or if you disagree, you let me know.
No, I don't trust the government at all. I don't trust them at all because I know I'm not gonna say what city I'm in. The mayor here has a little corruption with her. So the higher
I
you
believe it.
get, the more corrupt, huh?
I said, I believe that.
The higher up, it's gonna be some corruption. That's gonna be good. They can't just do bad. Everything they do cannot be bad. They had to do something to calm, pacify the society, let you know, okay, you got this, but on the background, I'm making deals with this and this. I don't think I don't trust Democrats nor Republicans. I trust certain ones, but not as a whole. I don't because I believe that they just want power and control. And then a lot of them on the Democratic side, look how long they've been in office. Nancy Pelosi, what, 50 years? Joe Biden, 58 years. Like absolute power corrupts absolutely. These people have been in power for a long time. There's some corruption involved in it.
Not some, and you're 100% correct. There
Hmm.
is corruption.
There is, yeah.
And we
Hmm.
call that special interest. There's a lot of people that bid for these national seats, or we can even say the federal seats, whatever you want to call it, even our state seats as it pertains to the House of Rep and our state Senate and then our main federal Senate. At the end of the day, they go into these positions to make deals. And we're going to call it just like it is, make deals with the devil. And so that because there's no way, and again, it's a whole nother show for another time, but there's no way you can come into office a person who maybe was making six figures to being a multimillionaire. That's not what public service is about. And we can definitely say the majority are in that bracket,
Hmm.
And so and we got to understand this too while we're on the government shutdown, getting ready to segue into something else. But my last question I had on the previous show is that all these folks who make up our House of Reps and then our Senate, they voted to shut the government down. My question is this, Price, maybe you can help me answer. I wonder, are they still receiving their checks? Are they getting paid? Because if that's what's happening, we have got to speak out. We got to speak to the speak out from the mountaintops, and it has to ring all the way down to the valley that it ain't right. And at the end of the day, there's no representative. I'm speaking for our side as well that should be receiving the check if the American federal employee workers are not.
In my opinion, they're getting paid. They're not these people who do this career politician for money, not getting no money.
We're
eh,
gonna have to do. We're gonna have
mhm.
to call in CO Candace Owen. She's a independent journalist. Candace, you're probably not watching the show. We're going to get it to you. You need to do some investigation on that. Take a little break from Charlie for a moment. And we need to look into this because at the end of the day, it's very important that we talk about it, that we dive into it, and that we speak out. Because again, fight for the truth. So we look at the whole picture. But let's segue away from that. And it is a good time to segue into this since we're talking about some of our House of Reps. So over the weekend, Saturday to be exact, on the 18th, of course, all of our news outlets has been talking about it. We've seen it. We even had local protests right here in my town in North Carolina, where I live. No King's protest. We know this is the second one that they did. Okay, and of course they're saying that no person has the right to be king. We're not in England. This is not the British here. We don't have anybody in our country, or I guess the English, I should say. We don't have anybody who can be a king. It's only a president, a vice president. Trump, you're not a king. You're not a dictator. Well, you are being a dictator, and you are tyrant. And so we got to protest against you. And so, of course, we saw the protests around this country over the weekend. Price, did you take place? Did you take part in that? Were you out there with a sign at all by chance?
I'm not even trying to be funny when I say this. I will hurt somebody for bothering me.
Yeah.
So, and I mean that wholeheartedly. I don't mean it. I'm not non-violent. I'm non-aggressive. But and I saw some dude named Andre Williams. They was beating him up and flipping him around out there. He went out there by himself talking.
Wow.
Yeah, they.
Where was this at?
Detroit.
Detroit. Of course, they didn't really talk much about Detroit. They kept eyes on New York. They said this is the most. I've watched people come on and talk on different shows on different news outlets, and they say, "Oh, it was a time of love. There was so much love out there. It's peaceful. There was not a person fighting. Nobody's been thrown around. You won't find it. You won't see it." And partial because, and you just answered that question, partly because none of the people on our team went over to kind of protest, and I'm sure they were doing them, but they were not going to be visible or seen from the media.
But they was bothering Savannah.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they was harassing her. I just saw a video of her getting harassed.
Gotta watch that. Gotta watch that one.
Definitely, I sent it to you. But that was like the biggest group. You remember back in the day, it was like a little small short bus, and like they used to have the kids on there like licking the windows.
I do.
That's what they grew up to be. The people at the No Kings protest. That's exactly who they grew up to become. And I promise you, not one of those people vote in local elections. They don't go to PTA meetings. They probably don't have jobs. They probably live with their parents. They don't know who their mayor is, board of education, superintendent, councilman, state representative. They don't know nothing. But they probably don't even know what district they live in.
I'm sure they don't. Thank
So,
you,
so
George Soros. I'm sure his money was behind this. Let's dive in for a moment exactly what the No King's protest was about. And of course, it is nothing more Price than socialism and communism at its best. And what we find is Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, AOC, and many other of our folks who are supposed to really be working to get this government open, they took the day to attend the protests under coercion and also under bribe and under force, because the gentleman who actually, I don't know his name and I won't give him any platform credit here anyways on this show, but the
mhm.
co-sponsors of the No Kings protest, the radical communist group, co-sponsored this. I believe they were called, it was a Communist Party, USA, Democrat Socialists of America, Young Communist League of New York, and some others, but they pretty much made, well, they gave Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries an ultimatum. They said, you will be at No King's protest in your local state, or else we're going to be looking for new leaders. And you know what that meant? That is a challenge to them and a threat to them that if they don't
Mm.
comply, they will be unseated. And so guess what they did? They
Went
didn't
out.
care. They went out and
Mhm.
protest. Oh yeah, because they understand that the voices are louder than theirs, and so they went out there. Again, the government is still shut down, of course, but they went out to help, aid out, and to be a protester in the No Kings peaceful protests. And we all know who headed up this protest. The people we know as Antifa,
Antifa.
aka anti-fascists, because they're the ones who are fighting back because we're all fascists. And President Trump, you're a fascist, you're a
I'm a
dictator,
fascist.
you're a tyrant, and we have to let you know, President Trump, that you have no right to act as if you're a king. I didn't know we had a king here in America, Price. I didn't even know that we
Didn't
had a
even.
parliament. Didn't know we had a parliament. I thought it was the White House with an administration. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're wrong, Price. Maybe somebody can tell us otherwise. But that's what the No King protest was about, Price. They're going out there. Again, they call it a day of love. And it kind of reminds me of the summer of love. But apparently, there were estimated 5 million people participated in over 2,100 cities and towns across the country. And we did see pictures, whether they
I
were
can believe it.
photoshopped or not, right, of these people coming
Mhm.
out when they could have been, because, right here in our state, we have the North Carolina State Fair. So I was at the state fair. I wasn't
Movies.
out protesting. Yeah, I wasn't out there holding a sign um, telling us that we didn't need a king, because at the end of the day, I know we didn't need a king. I know we don't have a king. So why waste your time, right?
They did a wonderful job, though. They
Listen,
did a
they did
wonderful
a
job. I woke up. I woke up this morning after all that with no king. That was beautiful. We
wasn't
got to
that
applaud them.
they did what they set out to do, right?
Mhm.
And of
Bravo.
course, the
Kudos to them.
ACL, kudos to them, and of course, the ACLU was definitely behind this protest, and I'm sure they'll do a couple more. Hey, guess what? Have at it. The media will give you full coverage because that's what they do. But at this protest, Price, I want to talk about this for a moment. At the No Kings protest, we saw many of signs that actually had President Trump's face and head on it. Some was wrapped around the noose. Now, could you only imagine if that was President Barack Obama, what they would have said with a
Oh,
noose around
racism,
his
man.
neck?
Racism. KKK. Extreme right wings. Like, y'all do the same thing. Not even the same thing, because I've never seen it happen. But I did see, I remember it was in Texas for the Halloween decorate. They had two MAGA puppets hanging from a noose.
Imagine that.
If that was, Barack Hussein, it would have been a whole out out outcry. It'd have been an uproar, and the whole world would have heard about it. But nobody knows about it. It's just it's ridiculous.
It's
It's a
ridiculous.
these people are douchebags.
They're all
Mhm.
above, and of course we have to say this. We know when we support the First Amendment, we know you have a right to say and write what you want, but there's certain things that should be off limits, like the ones of people actually putting their finger to their neck and pointing as if in a sign of shoot me in the neck or I shoot you in the neck. We know who they were referring to, and it's despicable, disgraceful, and it shows us what type of human being that they are. And the media actually covered this, and so it's amazing to us. So you're saying basically death to our president after two assassination attempts already upon his life, two
I thought it was
assassination
three.
attempts. Three. Well, we got three now. When you look at, if we want to call it that, unless you know of another one, and there could be some others out there. We will dive into the one the FBI just found. It's not necessarily assassination attempt. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but maybe the third one. I'm not 100% on the third one that we've had already. Maybe help us out there.
They said some dude was running up to where he was with a machete. It was something like some weird stuff.
Okay, see, we learn something new every day, and I don't doubt it. I've spoken about many of times, and it doesn't necessarily just talk about President Trump, but every president that's seated in the office, they have death threats upon them. We know that speaking with United States Secret Service agents, ones that actually guard the presidents, they talk about how the president and the White House is compromised every day. Could you imagine every day you wake up, the U.S. Secret Service is fighting some type of threat, whether that's
Yeah.
on um, social media, whether that's them coming down to the White House and trying to compromise, jump over the fence, which is very hard. We know the barricades and all the stuff they have implemented since President Trump has come in office. Even before that, it's gotten much more tighter. But
I'm
these
trying to
things are
think.
happening.
I'm trying to think. Was that under Trump term or was that Biden? Some dude did try to do that, and the snipers knocked him off. They took him off Earth.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
So
it
he,
happens all the time. This is a daily occurrence. Again, this is from Secret Service men telling me that themselves, and so we know that. Well, you also look at they had signs that read, "The only fascist." Listen to this: "The only fascist is a dead fascist." Imagine that. That's what they said. Documented. You can pull it up. It's there. And as we look into the assassinations, we're getting ready to wrap up here, Price. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. We look at the third, if you want to add that to the list of, again, could be four, could be five, could be six, but the
We
ones
don't
we
know
know
what
about.
Iran. We don't know what certain countries because these are just domestic. You imagine how many threats and stuff you getting from
Oh, yeah.
entities.
Couldn't imagine. The
Hmm.
CIA, FBI, they're working overtime because they want to see the president wiped away. Not gone, but wiped away. Just literally obliterated. Don't want them anymore. So we see
Hmm.
that this is happening on a daily basis. But when you look at the latest deal that the FBI actually, well, Secret Service found it. They found a hunting deer stand in West Palm Beach.
I remember
Um,
that.
yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, where near where the Air Force One actually lands, they actually Air Force One, they actually found that um, near the proximity of where that plane lands and how he exited off the plane. They found that. Thank God we have a wonderful United States Secret Service, the elite of the elite, who does their job looking for compromises. And of course, they found this from what I'm reading because they were doing their sweep that they do
Yeah.
every time the president enters anywhere, but every place that he goes to, including the naval base to get on the helicopter, even Air Force One, they do a sweep. And I've worked many details, not only the presidential details of President Trump, even the VP at the time, and even Vice President Biden, President Barack Obama. I've done details where the Secret Service sweeps. They come in days before the event. They sweep it. So imagine this is a daily routine when the president gets on the Air Force One. Um, Even when he is driving down the street, well, him not driving, but riding down the street, they sweep the areas to make sure these areas are safe and there's nobody standing around, anybody looking suspicious, or maybe there's people who are trying to hide in buildings. All that is swept. So during their sweep, we'll wrap it up. During their sweep, they found the deer stand, and so this is very dangerous. It is an eye
Yeah.
opener because it says that there's a sniper on the loose. And so Cash Patel has put out a statement that they are looking into that. They've taken over that investigation from the United States Secret Service to dive more into that.
So
So
they called
hopefully
him.
we will find they may have caught him. The last I
You,
looked,
you
I didn't
know.
see that,
You know
but
what's
they may
crazy?
have.
I'm very non-biased, and I was so curious. I wanted to know what was going on through Kamala's head,
Uh-huh.
do all that. So I'm reading her book right now. That's the part I'm on. That's why I started laughing when you brought that up. I'm
Yeah,
gonna ask you that
because
exact part.
isn't that something? Because at the end of the day, every president is not only compromised, meaning security wise, not that they compromise as far as espionage or something crazy like that. That's not what I'm talking about. But
Yeah, yeah,
their life is always threatened and compromised. But they also we saw signs at the No Kings protests at 86, and we've seen it before. 86-47, and I come from the culinary world outside of law enforcement.
yeah,
Before I got
yeah,
into law enforcement, culinary, and you know what that means, Price. 86 means to get rid of.
yeah.
So get rid of 47. I mean, should we say anymore? Do we have to even um, make those who are trying to make this not be about a assassination attempt phrase? Should we add any more to it? It's common sense. A little kid can say, President Trump said that before. Said even a little child can read that and know what they're speaking of. I mean, it's obvious.
It's
So
very much
obvious.
obvious. And these people, yes, we do have a First Amendment right, but that
Hmm.
don't mean there's not consequences behind saying something. You can't just say
Yeah.
whatever you want and threaten the president and threaten this person.
No.
You call me, if you call me threatening me or threaten me to take my life, I can call the police. So imagine what the president can do. He has Secret Service that gets these or will see posts online and they'll be knocking at your door. People think this stuff is a game. This is real life. This is clown world. This is really clown world. Like nothing makes sense no more. You got a bunch of overly emotional man children and women, children running around in their feelings, don't know what they're fighting for. That's the main thing. Whatever the TV programs them to hate, that's what they hate. These people don't
Exactly.
have a belief system of their own. They don't have morals. They don't have nothing of their own. Everything that they think they believe, it came from the TV or it came from a propaganda machine that spun this narrative or that narrative. Now that's what they think they believe. Now you got people running around here with diapers and threatening the president. Like it's weird. It's weird. This is a clown world. It's a legit clown world, man.
It is the honest truth. But listen, Price, I've enjoyed it. It's been a highlight of not only the day, but a highlight of fighting for the truth. I knew we were going to have a great conversation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's been so great that this has been the longest running show so far on Fighting for the Truth. And so I've enjoyed it. It's been a privilege, Price.
I
And I
did
want
too.
to do something as we end. Please tell the folks where they can find you at.
I'm on YouTube. I'm just start my YouTube channel back up. I wasted so much potential. I wasted so much potential. So on YouTube is I am Price 1002. Instagram I am Price 1002. I'm getting back on X. I am Price 102 and TikTok I am Price 1002. But I'm getting back on YouTube. I'm wasting a perfectly monetized platform.
100%. I guarantee you,
I'm
people are
wasting
going
it.
to tune in to listen to the one and only Price Hopkins. Listen, it's been fun. We've talked about so much on this particular episode. We need you to go out and listen. And we need you to not only listen, we need you to like. Then when you're done liking, we need you to share it. And then if you have not done so yet, we need you to subscribe to Fighting for the Truth here on YouTube. And you can find me on Rumble as well.
Don't
I'm
forget
up
that
there now.
notification. Don't forget to hit that notification bell too.
Bing! Yeah, we
There
need you
we
to hit
go.
that. We need you to hit
Yeah.
it. We need you to subscribe. And I know once Price has taken this show, once I put it in his hands, we're going to get so many different subscribers and followers because he has a huge following. And so Price, in the words of Bernie Sanders, he has a huge following. Again, listen.
If I could keep my pages up, I always end up losing them.
Yeah, you're always in jail, man. We got to get you out. We got bail money. We're trying to help you out. And at the end of the day, guess what? You know what Price does when he is taken off? You want to know what he does? He creates a new one. That's what he does. Gets
Yeah.
back up there. So you can't silence the truth. And that's exactly what I'm leading into. Look, I really enjoyed the show. You have been listening to Fighting for the Truth. And I need you, Price, I always ask the listeners to do me a favor. And I'm going to need you to do this favor for me too, Price. I'm going to need you to do me this favor. Can you please do me this favor?
You let me know what it is, and I got you.
Here it is. Buy the truth. Okay, Price? We need
The
them to buy
truth.
it first, okay?
Hmm.
Buy the truth. And when you have bought the truth, you cannot sell it. Sell it not. You cannot sell the truth. So buy the truth and sell it not. That is what this show is about. We're about giving out the truth because guess what, Price? I told you earlier, the truth is free. You can't sell it. You just give it
Hmm.
out. And I want everybody to know that. So continue watching Fighting for the Truth. We'll see you again. And again, Price, what are we going to do? We're going to buy the truth.
I'm gonna buy the truth and sell it not.
Thank you. And guess what, everybody? We'll see you again.